everybody, and welcome to the Freddy the Rabbit and Phil Show. My name is Philip DuPoy, as far as I can tell, and we're here talking to the finest, the most perfect example of life, love, joie de vivre, and tricksterism in the entire universe, Mr. Freddy the Rabbit. Could we have a small smattering of applause for Freddy the Rabbit, please?
Thank you, my friends. I hate attention. I hate attention. Attention!
I'm wondering, here's my first question for you before you get entirely carried away here. What's it like to be a perfect symbol of something? Isn't that great?
No, I want to say something. That made me very, very nervous when you said a perfect symbol. Because of anything, I'm not perfect, and I want to share this with the audience. But someone saw our first show. Of course, there were thousands gathered in the auditorium, and someone who cares about me, loves me, and is protective said, "Fred, I love the show, but you murdered the English language, and didn't you used to be an English teacher at Georgia State University?" And I went, oh. For about 2 days, I went around thinking, I've messed up, I failed, I've exposed myself as imperfect. Philip's going to be upset with me. And I got an idea for the show today, and it's amazing how psychic you are. You are psychic. This whole notion of perfection, and I would like to talk today about the pathology of perfection.
Pathology, doesn't it have something to do with cutting people open?
Actually, I'm a therapist, and I'm not sure what it means.
I mean, isn't a pathologist like Quincy, like cutting people open and finding out what killed them and stuff?
And finding out what killed them, but I have no idea what to do with that. This is another example of imperfection. This is how that if you're really going to loosen up and be creative and have a good time, you're going to have to simply be human, which is imperfect. Wow, did I squeeze out of that? But I was thinking about someone I saw many years ago. In my office, and it's hard, I know, for some people to believe I am the therapist, but I've also been a client at times, and as a result of being cured, I now go around in a rabbit outfit. But this person came to me, and the strangest looking guy. He had this huge head and this little body, and these like big arms and these and big legs from here on down. And I sat there thinking, my God. And so I said, "What is your story?" And he said, I grew up in a family where my parents wanted me to be perfect. And they had good, clear ideas about what it meant to have a perfect son. And when I was a child, my mother, would sew clothes and all that stuff. And one day she gets the idea for this perfect little outfit for me. Perfect little outfit. And she made it for me. And I wanted to please my mom. And I put it on. And, my mom would get depressed and sad at times. My dad would get upset. But when I would appear in that little outfit, they would smile. They would be happy. And so I decided I'd never take that outfit off. So here was this guy sitting in front of me, about 6 foot tall. 200 pounds, wearing this perfect little, uniform that he got when he was 6 years old. It was a disaster, all because he wanted to be perfect. Now, I want to tell people out there, I actually made up that story to illustrate something. Can I show you? Please do. Show you this. Can you catch this? Where is that $1 million camera they brought in for our show, Philip? Oh, right there. Can you see that without the glare? The radiance around my head, the cosmic radiance that you're catching may confuse you, but this is done by a wonderful person from Seattle, Washington, the first American to be ordained as a Buddhist priest in a sect in Japan. He's Richard Kirsten Dainsai, wonderful human being, and he did this print of 3 monks. Now, if you can see this, you notice the one in the middle is the imperfect one. He's the one that's
halo's all bent up.
Broken halo like mine, and not yours, of course, the patches on his outfit. He's the one, though, with the open heart, and he's the one that's smiling. The other two, of course, are out to be perfect, and they are absolutely miserable. And that's why I called it the pathology of perfection. You want a prescription for being miserable, for never being able to change, for killing the human spirit? just decide early on that you want to be perfect. Have you ever met like administrators, or not to pick on preachers, but some preachers or maybe therapists or whatever, who somehow get an idea about what is absolutely right, what is perfect, and they can't tolerate the thought that anything would come along that would call that into question. And you see them when they're about 30 and they look like, they have all this energy and they have all this power. Then you see them when they're 40 and they're beginning to look kind of pale. And by the time you see them when they're 50, they look like someone failed to show up with the casket. Their spirit's gone, their soul's gone. And so I've decided, as a result of working with you, Philip, and hearing about our first show, my commitment is to be as imperfect as I can be. Not perfectly imperfect, but to try to just accept my humanity and the humanity of others so I can stay open to change and transformation and not assume I got to get it all complete, like turn myself into a brick where, I get a great story, but how have you been doing, by the way?
I think you're just fine.
Well,
Thanks for asking.
I mean, I don't, I need to ask you, and I hope you've, of course, been imperfect.
I've been trying to be imperfect.
Imperfect?
Yes. I'm thinking about this, the Buddhist paradox, actually, of trying to achieve perfection. This is a big thing in a lot of Buddhist texts, striving to achieve perfection. But generally, when you come across one of these extremely enlightened guys, they'll all say, perfection is a pile of dung, or the Buddha is a dog. I mean, they'll say all these things to just so that you'll be popped out of this idea of the notion of achieving perfection.
Absolutely.
Or thinking that you can achieve perfection, because perfection is an infinite goal. Perfection is actually something that you're always striving toward, that you never achieve or attain.
I love it. I love it. That notion of, that famous saying about if you meet the Buddha on the road, pretend he's a urinal. It's one of the more famous Buddhist statements about don't get so preoccupied with this perfect image outside of you, and that's what you're supposed to be, that you miss the whole point. Well, I told you, I'm committed to being imperfect now, and I can recommend a good book.
About imperfection?
About imperfection. Catch the title of this, The Spirituality of Imperfection. And it's, you could have written it, Philip, not because, you're so imperfect, but you could have written it. The Spirituality of Imperfection, and the authors are, Kurtz is one, I forget the other, a fellow named Kurtz, K-U-R-T-Z. And the main point of the book is that to be human is to be imperfect, and that's the perfect way. That is the way it should be, because if you're perfect, you don't need others, you don't need grace, you don't need forgiveness, you don't need to change, and that means death. The perfect environment in some ways where everything's just neat and perfect. I mean, you go to a funeral and take a peek in the casket. I mean, I have some friends that died along the way that were just drank themselves to death, but when I went to see them at the funeral, they never looked better. I mean, they looked perfect, the perfect little world. I mean, that wonderful little casket. So we are going to commit ourselves to the imperfect way, and you're absolutely right. We're not looking for perfection, we're looking for wholeness. Religion sometimes is about being perfect, getting the rules, getting the dogma. Sometimes education is about getting it right. Spirituality, sometimes I must sound so arrogant because sometimes I think I actually know what I'm talking about, and I better be careful about that. Spirituality is about reconnecting. It's about integrity, about being open to all sides of us and not trying to be so perfect that we don't want to look at the fact that sometimes we get a stain in our underwear and we better burn it in the backyards so nobody knows. Where did I get that?
You know what I'm thinking, though, about these rug makers who they spend years and years making a rug, and then towards the end they deliberately weave in an imperfection.
Yes.
They go out of their way to make it imperfect, yes, because a perfect rug is an insult to God. God is in the province of perfection. Everything else exists.
Can you imagine? Let's pretend that. Imagine this: that you get a chance to kind of talk to God, and you run into God, and you say, "Hey, God, I want you to know I'm finally here, and are you lucky? because I'm perfect. I am perfect. I've been working on this for years. And I know, look, there's a lot of people that would want to be here and get this job. I mean, there's some of my neighbors. Are they a mess? Let me tell you, they make mistakes. They have trouble in their families. They have conflict in their marriage. I'm here to let you know, God, I'm perfect. I mean, my image is God would bomb it. Or he'd at least say, I'm sorry, I can't use you. What I need are your flaws. What I need is your imperfection. What I need is your opening up, your changing. I don't need, quote unquote, your perfections. I need your wholeness, but I don't need your perfection. I got another great story I just thought of. And I had this need to get you to make sure you talk more today. I know you can take care of yourself.
Really enjoy listening.
Okay. I wish my family felt that way. Sorry. But this is a great story about Procrustes, you know, the giant titan out of Greek mythology who, I think if I remember, had this great bedstead or something. And if someone was too long for it, you know, he'd cut off their legs, and if the person was too short. And we get the name Procrustean bed from that. This bed of conformity where everybody is supposed to be stuffed in there so you fit. Perfection. But I had this thought. There was this guy. Let me just say this. Pretend. There was this guy named Procrustes, and he went to a university, and he had this great idea that someday he'd open a perfect motel. He wanted to put it in Alabama. Perfect motel. So he goes to college. He goes to graduate school. He takes statistics to find out what is the perfect hotel, what is the perfect bed. He takes nutrition, gourmet cooking. He wants to get the perfect menu. He wants everything to be perfect. He is so excited. He goes and he builds the motel. He's so excited, he doesn't wait for people to show up. He's out there on the street. Hey, come on in. I got the perfect world for you, buddy. Perfect experience. So he knows when people should get up. He knows when people should go to bed. He knows people should have dinner at 5 o'clock exactly. In fact, he knows what they should eat. So he gets someone that comes in there and he says, hey, look, let me take you up to the room. I'm so excited. I'm so enthused about this. This is a perfect motel. You're going to have a wonderful time. I want you to be happy. This is for your own good. I want you to remember that. So he takes him up to the room. The guy gets in there and he says, look, dinner at 5 o'clock. Did you hear me now? Dinner, it's a perfect dinner. You got to be there at 5. He goes, boy, this person's really dedicated. He really cares. So guy looks around the room and he finds this tuxedo in the closet. And he calls down, excuse me, someone left a tuxedo in the closet. And the Procrustes says, no, you don't understand. It's for you. You have to wear it at dinner. It's perfect. It's a perfect tuxedo. And the guy goes, well, I know, but I don't think it'll fit. It looks too small. He said, too small? Oh, it can't be. It's perfect. I've gotten a graduate degree in this, and I've studied the scripture of perfect motels and so on. So actually what happens is the guy puts it on, he goes down to dinner like this, and has his dinner, and he has to finish his dessert. He has to do everything right. That night, he gets into bed, and Procrustes is out in the hall. Like, oh my God, I hope he's sleeping perfectly. That's the perfect bed he has to fit. And he hears the guy turning and moving around. He gets very nervous. And he goes in there and he looks. The guy's feet are hanging over the edge of the bed. Procrustes. Oh my God, there's something wrong with this guy. It's the perfect bed. So he gets a saw and he saws off his legs. Another night, hey, a guy goes in there. He's too short. Procrustes stretches his legs so he fits the bed. The pathology of perfection. I live in a world where I hear the cries in the night all the time of people who find themselves going to a school, a church, a motel, a family, wherever, where someone says, I have the perfect way. You must fit into it. And we hear the cries all the time. They ain't getting me, Philip. I'm not going to be perfect. And I hope you don't buy into that either. I'll take the imperfect bed and keep my legs, baby. I love that story.
A great story.
I love that story.
Nice ending, too. I'll take the...
But did we do it perfectly? I mean, we didn't go over, did we? Or
no, in fact, we're a little short today.
Oh, no.
We try as much as we can to put on a perfect show, and this is the kind of thing that happens. Also, this suit doesn't fit that well either. So
don't tell me that.
Plus, your tie isn't tied exactly right.
You're kidding.
No, it's and you know you missed a little when you were shaving. It's not the perfect shave.
I'm going to keep working on this, though.
You should think about trimming your eyebrows.
I love my eyebrows.
Like little imperfection.
I love my eyebrows, brother. Now you made a mistake.
One of your ears is not.
One of my ears is wrong?
Well, it's not perfect.
You're kidding. I hope people heard us on this, Philip. I hope I listened to myself.
We've been talking to Freddy the Rabbit. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.